All right.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. How do you like? I'm in Hawaii.
Oh, you look very charming. Put
You
on
want to
that
go?
sunscreen.
You can get on. You can do that.
No, it's okay. You can show me how, but I'm not doing it. How do you do
There's three dots in the corner of your, not at the bottom, at the top right. There's like three dots on your little picture.
it? Three dots. It says active speaker thumbnail video view. No,
Change virtual background
let's see. Three dots. Not this one.
on
We're
your
off.
picture, not on that one.
Not on that one.
On your
Oh,
actually
on
your type.
myself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Change virtual background. Oh, okay. And I can pick. I can
You can pick
pick.
any of that stuff.
Oh, this was where I was. Isn't this my house? Isn't this where I was? Wait a minute. Oh, what happened? Looks like I locked up.
Oh,
This
you
looks
might
like,
not have enough internet speed. Oh, there you are.
yeah, there I am. But let's go back.
But if you get like Chrissy couldn't do it because her internet isn't good enough.
Oh. How do I put myself back? Say none?
Go to
Yeah.
those three dots.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. All right. I'm back in my dining room.
All right.
That's
Well,
cute
see,
though.
mine is in the basement right now, so I don't
Mhm.
do that. I have
Yeah.
two kids playing Legos. You can't hear them,
I did hear it for a second. I don't hear him now, but I heard it
right? Okay.
a minute ago. Yeah,
They're
now I hear him.
playing.
I hear that.
Hi. It's my friend. All right. So I'm gonna turn this off and leave now.
Yeah, me
All
too.
right.
All
So
right. Thanks
see
for
how there's
testing me.
no. You see how there's no
No,
noise?
it sounds
It's
good. Yeah.
awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds
That's
really
what you
good.
need to do.
All right. But I
All
can
right.
still mute myself like I always.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. See ya.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Not bad. Are you really? No, you're not. So right now I'm muted when it's private. In other words, mute means you can't hear me, right? Okay, I'm done. Thanks.
Manny, you made it.
Hey, Chrissy, I got him in. I can't hear you. Are you muted? Oh, wait.
I'm not
I got to put
muted.
on my ears. Okay, now I could hear. I got him in. I just got him in.
I'm so happy he made it. Oh, and there's Mary. We're doing good tonight, guys.
Oh, those are the two that are hardest.
Where's Jack, though? Jack's usually on by now.
I did it all by myself.
Oh, Mary, I'm so proud.
That's awesome.
You have my favorite earrings on again, too. Those are the dream catchers.
You know what? I haven't been wearing any earrings because of this silly mask. They pull them off.
Oh,
I
I know.
can't wear
I
'em.
can't tell you how many times my mask has gotten stuck on my earring.
Yeah, so I don't wear them anymore.
How about you, Manny? You wear earrings? Do you hear me?
Oh, he's muted. I think he's on the phone. Oh, well, we're doing good tonight. Happy.
How are you feeling, Christy, with all this heat?
I'm dying. Could be worse, though. Could be
You
worse.
hear me?
We hear you, Manny.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you. Can you hear
I
us?
had my speaker off. Hey guys, I'm on.
By yourself. You're like me. I did it all by myself.
Oh, I can't wait to open up the Jack.
Oh, and here's Jack. Pat, this is going way too successfully.
Well, we don't have John on yet, so calm down. All right, everybody, I'm in Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
Come on, let's see that hula.
Woohoo!
How you doing, Christine?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. And look who else is there. Just walked in. I'm fried. Busy day.
All right, I got to see if anybody else calls me later.
Good luck, Pat.
Thanks.
Wow, man, I broke. Where's Joe Jackson? Man, I'm going to give it to him.
I will vouch for you, Manny. 6:05. He was on.
Thank you.
Hello, how's everybody? Hi.
Hi,
Hey,
Jack.
Jack.
Yeah.
All righty. He's there. Right.
Jack.
Hello, hi, Lynn.
Hey, Jack. How you doing? I miss you.
I know we got to get together soon.
Definitely.
So, Christina, how's the baby doing?
$400,000 day.
She's doing good.
Good.
I have my next appointment on Thursday, so we'll get to see how big she is. She's a little chunker
Yeah.
already, so
Good. That's good to
tell
hear.
ya,
Got a lot for your
I'm
buck.
over this
Bang for
heat
your
though.
buck.
Wow.
This heat's not doing
Anybody
too much
checking?
good. But
How bad?
good work.
Still playing up the whole thing.
Where's the leash?
What are you looking for?
Did you both get the email
There's
with
not that much
the
here.
number
What was
for
that?
the closed session?
Yes, I got that.
I will.
Good,
I have the phone number too.
good.
Hey, Christina,
What was that, Manny?
last question. Were there a lot of reasons on the meeting tonight? I mean, I see every copy. It looks all identical.
Okay, so the agenda has been changed 3 times.
Yeah, I know.
We added, well, I sent out an agenda with updated report sections. And gave you the other 3 ordinances for introduction. And the closed session resolution was added.
Right.
Yep.
Then the agenda hasn't changed since the closed session was added. Except that you all should have received the email with the 2 resolutions that are going to be requested to be added to the agenda this evening.
Yeah, Christina, the one resolution it's R20, it doesn't have a number.
No, they'll be assigned a number if they get approved to be added to the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, I printed it out at work and I left it on my desk. So I don't even have a copy of it.
I do that pretty often.
I tell you, some days I don't know if I'm coming or going anymore.
Honestly, the last few months I've been feeling the same way.
Yeah.
It's been so chaotic.
Well, what's crazy is I can't print at home. The company won't allow me, the Chinese president won't allow me to put in a printer. So some things I hold off till when I go to the office to once or twice a week.
Yeah.
So what I did was your emails, I forward to my company laptop and then I print from there. So I printed and take it home. So I printed them, I read them lunchtime and I printed them and then I left them folded on my desk. Good thing I read them. So.
At least you read them.
I read all this stuff forwards, backwards, and forward.
Oh, you have to. You have to.
Then for the closed session, we have to look at that. I was looking for the access code and it's on the email. It's on the regular meeting, first page on the link. I had to get it from Pat when I was on the phone with her. Because I got so many papers here, I don't know where to look at.
Oh, I know. And it gets crazy when we have all these updates too.
Yeah.
That just
We
makes
got to push them to get it done sooner. The last minute is just, especially with what's going on, quick enough. I know. Got to figure something out, you know?
not easy for me either.
No, I know. Got to get your assistant BA to maybe help you out with some of this stuff.
Well, we've been so busy. We have liquor license renewals.
Yeah,
So
I know.
we've been juggling all of that, coordinating the inspections with the other departments. And then we just finalized the auction last Friday. So I've spent the last 2 days coordinating pickup, auction items, the phone nonstop. And the marriage license appointments that we've had is absolutely insane. Insane. Everyone's getting married. So we've both just been nonstop.
You tell them come back in a year when you can have your party. What are you doing now? By the time you get married, they'll be voided.
It's surprising. I really thought they would have slowed down, but we've gotten so many more than normal.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, everybody housing together will do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Achafano's on too. We're doing
John.
Tonight.
Good evening, John.
He's got a new figurine for every meeting.
That's good.
Well, I will be right back. Take a minute before we get started.
Okay.
Jack, it's a. Hey,
Manny, Jack, how are you?
Good,
how you doing,
John.
John?
How we doing?
We're doing great.
Living the dream.
Another day in paradise,
Oh boy, I'm telling you.
right?
It's a hell of a day job we got here.
Hey, John, I'm in Hawaii. Don't mind me.
You got to figure it out, huh?
Yep.
What's your other choices?
Somebody's office. I don't know, some weird thing.
You picked a nice empty beach.
Yeah, really.
I could pick other ones. I can look out the window or in some boring office.
Can you hear me, Pat?
Yes, Mike, I can.
Yes,
You like my
Mike.
back? Like my
Hi, Mike.
background?
I love it. I'm going to put one up too.
Okay, so the three dots in the picture by your face,
Yeah,
up on the top by your face, you click that,
gotcha.
and it says change my virtual background. Not the ones on the bottom, the ones on your picture.
Okay. That's what I'm going to do.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Adam. I'm in Hawaii.
I see that. Yeah.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. We have a blast with those at work.
I'm just wishful thinking, you know. I want to lighten the mood tonight.
Absolutely. I like that.
All right.
There's your new,
Okay, John. I like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
It's
an improvement.
that's your new town attorney.
Anything could be better.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Wow.
Hey, John. I'm glad you're using your headphones. No static. You're all doing good.
hey, I got online and the headphones are working.
That's
I
awesome.
don't have any.
No, me neither.
Well, if you have an iPhone or a phone, they come with headphones. Just stick them in your computer.
I don't have an iPhone.
Well, you have a cell phone jack. They come with headphones.
Not mine.
Why not?
Hey,
You have
wait
a
a minute.
flip. Do you have a
Samsung.
flip phone? Do you have a flip phone?
No, I'm not that old. Come on. I might still have. I have one of the original phones, but not. No.
All right, Jonathan, you and I are in Hawaii, buddy.
Hey, Pat.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good. Hello, everybody else.
Hey, Joe.
Hello.
It's about time. 6:05, Joseph.
I've been driving around telling JCP&L where to go and stuff and what houses to pick.
Except JCPL, we're all done. We're all hooked up, buddy.
Yeah.
Everybody has power from the storm.
Nice.
That mayor did some job.
Yep.
He was all after them.
Now, if you could only get my Omaha steaks back that I threw away.
Even the good Lord can't do that.
Manning, did you get a phone call from Pasha Court tonight?
I will after I have a meeting.
I'll be back.
He should have called you before then, man.
I know. He could be out.
Yeah, nice excuse.
Oh, listen. I told him make sure he knows how to spell my name.
Hey, Pat, where did I go? I all of a sudden lost my picture here.
You're there.
Yeah,
You're in the
but-
background.
See you, Mike.
I don't see
Yeah, you've
myself.
got
Wow.
You're in a dapper
Mike, you're
office
there.
there.
You want to call him?
I am.
Well, now you're not. Now you are. You have the virtual background of an office with candles, lights, and
I
yeah,
do.
I got it.
Should I call
Cool.
him now?
Here, wait. I'll take a picture and send it to you.
When you want on there, man.
No.
Yeah, you're in the man button office here.
Excellent.
I sent it to you.
Okay, I'm gonna re-sign in again for some reason. It just
Dog's good. Yeah. She is a good dog. Look at her. I know. No.
Uh-oh, I gotta get off my phone here.
It's her broker.
Hey, Christina,
Yeah.
since we didn't start yet, there's a number, and I can't find it. I know I have it somewhere here. The number, when we go into closed session, right, we have to use our phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that number again?
I will email it to you. It shouldn't be public knowledge.
Manny, I'll text it to you right now, Manny.
Okay, and then I'll forward it to my my other my company number, so this way I could see it when I do it. Perfect.
All right, I'm going to text you the number now.
Okay.
There's a passcode I'm texting you too.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Joe.
You got it.
Thanks. Because I got it on paper, but I think that's on my desk too. Concern was getting my butt out of the office.
We can't ask too much from him, Joe. He was on at 6:05, so.
Get a chance. I sent you a quick email about the one resolution. It seemed like there was a typo. May want to take a.
I'll take a look.
Jonathan, how are you?
How you doing, pal?
Good, bud. I see Doug's on too.
Manny, let me know when you got the text.
I just got it.
Okay.
Jonathan, you emailed? I don't see anything.
I just sent it to Joe maybe a half hour ago.
Oh, okay.
I'll send it right now too.
Yeah, we could change that, right?
We should be able to get like a typo, Joe.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good there. Perfect. Boys, ready to rock and roll.
Doug, you're very blurry. It looked very blurry. I don't know.
It's probably because of the sun. I don't.
Did you get a haircut?
One haircut.
Did Sackett get a haircut?
It,
Listen, Doug, we know you always look snazzy.
They all go to the kids. He's got to save somewhere.
My wife cut all the hair of all the boys.
My wife was cutting hair too.
And no Floby.
No scissors. And not beautician scissors or barber scissors. We use, hold on. These.
Oh my God.
Oh, what are you doing?
School.
Listen, Adam, if I haven't made it to Hollywood at this point, I'm never going to make it. So
why not then? Get the garden shears.
Politics is the closest thing to Hollywood nowadays.
As close to being on screen, huh?
Yes.
Did I see the fire on Circle Drive? Was that a couple hours ago?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was everybody okay? Does everyone know?
Yes, everybody's okay.
Okay.
Yep. These pens.
Right here.
Huh? Yeah. See if that works.
So I don't know if I can see everybody, Chrissy, but I don't see everybody.
I have Mr. on the phone right now. He couldn't find the invitation email. He should be connected any second now.
Okay, I don't see Miss Noon. I know Mr. Kritz isn't joining.
I see Miss Noon. Hi, Larry.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right. I got to figure out how to so I could see everybody. Oh, there it is. Okay, now I'm good.
Oh my goodness, we can see Dave Dyer for the first time ever. Oh my.
Hi, Dave.
6, 7.
Can you talk, Dave, or no?
Dave. I love the Bingley hair. That's one of my favorite characters.
All right, Joe, it's 6:31.
Yeah, let's just see what's going on.
Joe, can you give me 1 second? There's something wrong with the YouTube.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
So I think I can see everybody now, right, Chrissy?
I see everyone.
Okay. Let me know when you start recording.
Sure.
Is that outside noise?
I don't know what that is.
He's not muted.
Is Pat on?
That's better. That's on. I see her.
Yeah, I'm here, Chrissy. What's up?
Pat, could you check to see if the live stream video is actually working?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I got it. We're good.
We're good?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting in order, and let's start with the flag salute.
Are you recording, Chrissy?
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
States of
of the
America.
United States of America
To the
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
under
indivisible,
God,
with liberty,
indivisible,
and
with
justice
liberty
for
and
all.
justice for all.
Now I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember the service and sacrifice of the armed service members who protect our nation and the first responders who protect our neighborhoods. I'd also like to put the family of Patrol Officer Anthony Erisman, badge number 112, in everybody's hearts. We received notice of his passing on August 2nd. He was a 12-year member of the department. He was survived by his wife of 16 years, Cole, and his children, Travis and Cadence. Our prayers and thoughts are with him. He was a graduate of Morris Knowles. Immediately after graduation, he joined the Marine Corps and served in Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. He from what I understand and what I've seen, he was a real family man and was very tight with his family. We also lost a longtime Meals on Wheels driver, Cy Friedman, who was a longtime driver for Rockaway Township, and my understanding, he was one of the guys you could count on. If somebody couldn't make it, you could call Cy, and he would pick up that route for that day. So 2 losses since the last meeting in Rockaway Township family. So please keep them in your prayers. Okay, Christine, if you could please take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly?
Here.
Councilmember Quinn?
Here.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Here.
Councilmember Chris? Councilmember Felber?
Here.
Councilmember Brooks?
Here.
Councilmember Noon?
Here.
Vice President Sackett?
Here.
President Jackson?
Here. We have 8 present. We have a quorum. This meeting was advertised in the Daily Record and the Star Ledger, the official newspapers for the Township of Rockaway, on August 8th, 2020. Notice was posted on the official bulletin boards of Rockaway Township. With that said, I'd like to turn the floor over to the mayor for him to make a statement.
Yep. Thank you, Council President. I have another town event to go to, so I appreciate you letting me speak first. There's been a few incidents in Rockaway Township that were brought to my attention a while back, and they have been addressed, but there was some concern from some residents. And the council was given an email with a list of concerns and where we stand in terms of those incidents. So I prepared a statement tonight, and I just want to say that it doesn't stop with the statement. No one reached out to me. No one picked up the phone and called. So I want to let those folks who are on that letter, who are concerned, that I'm available anytime for dialogue. All you have to do is call. You can meet with me in the office. We can set up an appointment. We can have discussions. So I got an email, and I want to address it. And it was, like I said, it was sent to the council. And it involved two incidents that occurred in town that are racially motivated or potential bias issues. And I want to start by saying at the outset, it is important that I state clearly and unequivocally that my administration will not tolerate racism in any form. Rockaway Township is and has always been an inclusive community. People from many different races, cultures, and religious affiliations have chosen to make Rockaway Township their home. When the incidents involving defacing signage in White Meadow Lake and the owner of the empanada truck occurred, I immediately directed our police department to devote all the necessary resources to investigating those incidents. The investigations were thoroughly performed and reports of each were made as required. The investigators, they were also directed to the Bias Crimes Unit of the Morris County Prosecutor's Office. As most of you know, the Morris County Prosecutor's Office is the chief law enforcement office in Morris County and directs and controls all law enforcement matters, including bias crimes and incidents. I have directed our police department to be continually vigilant and vigorously pursue any and all incidents of racism by whatever name, including to, but not limited to, conduct or statements indicative of racial, ethnic, or cultural prejudice. The police department has cooperated fully, and I am sure they will continue to do so. I and my administration are fully committed to confronting racism in all forms to serve the unity and integrity of our town and to ensure that it remains what it has always been, which is a place of where people of all races, cultures, and faiths can live freely, happily, and without fear or prejudice. Now, I want to expand on that a little bit. When I first became a councilman and I became a mayor, both, I pushed as far as community involvement. I pushed for diversity in the town. I pushed for it in my professional career, my former career. Immediately, I engaged one of our most diverse areas or most diverse institutions in town, Christ Church. I met up with the leaders of Christ Church to speak with them on different issues. We had a diversity recruiting day over there when I worked in law enforcement to try to promote and recruit different ethnic backgrounds to Rockaway Township to get folks involved. Our town has been very, very inclusive. Proclamations, first of their kind in Rockaway Township, put out is in terms of LGBTQ, honoring Pride Month, honoring Gun Violence Awareness Month. So we have been inclusive. I'm not going to go into my personal life, all of the things that I've done as a person. Any of you that want to sit down with me and go over what I've done in terms of working with Special Olympics, working with Big Brothers and Sisters, working with various law enforcement groups, our hiring practices in town are designed to add diversity to our police department. And our business administrator, Pat Seeger, she's some of my top people, our CFO, our engineer, Pat Seeger, all women. So I think that we are inclusive. Some of the things that were stated in the email we're already doing. I'm not going to go into each and every one. Like I said, if someone wants to sit down, call my office. I can have dialogue with you. I can show you what we're doing. and all the different groups that I work with. A couple of years back, we brought LEAD into the district. LEAD has now taken on a component, and I've worked with LEAD to address bullying, to address racism, to address acceptance. And we're a community, a stigma-free community, one of the first. So I can only, as the face of Rockaway Township, as the mayor, I try to project that all-inclusive, not just through word, but through deed, and try to make our community a better place for everyone, where everyone can feel welcomed and at home. I can't control incidents that happen in the community. Obviously, you're going to have certain things that go on, but we can control ourselves. The council shares the same vision that I do as far as Rockaway goes. And like I said, I am always there to speak to anyone who wants to approach me, sit down with me, have dialogue on this issue and other issues. All you have to do is reach out to me. And so I'm going to leave you with that. I do have to leave. I have an event at 7 o'clock, as I said. So Joe's given me the time to also make my report. Is that okay, Council President?
Absolutely.
Okay, a few people.
This isn't question and answer.
Yeah,
this isn't question and answer.
What's the status of the investigation?
This isn't question and answer.
Kelly, I'm gonna address you first, since you're speaking out. The administration is not going to be answering any more of your questions at the meetings. You can email them to us. We'll take them down. We will definitely respond. But after the last meeting, I felt the meeting was shameful.
Status of the investigation. Just the investigation status.
Council President, the councilman is not recognized.
Yeah, you're not, Mr. Kelly, you're out of order again. Just stop.
The mayor's talking to me.
This isn't question and answer.
The mayor's talking to me. We're having dialogue.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor. Do your report, please.
Okay, I just want to let you know, Mr. Kelly, please email your questions prior to the meeting. I'm not going to service your agenda. I'm not going to continue to service your agenda and drive the town further down a rabbit hole that they can't get out.
Just wanted to know the investigation status, that's all.
Council President, the councilman is not recognized.
Okay, I want to give you, can I continue?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I want to give you an update on COVID. We've remained consistent in terms of cases. Obviously, testing has been available, so you're going to get more folks that are tested. And we've been averaged about 10 cases a month that we've increased on. So from August 1st to now, we've had about 10 cases that have people who have tested positive. That has been pretty standard. That has been about 10 cases per month. We've had no additional deaths, hospitalizations. I can't give you a number on that because we're not privy to that. But we have remained steady in that area. There was a concern by one of the council members in terms of the economic impact. Those stats and figures you're going to have to get from the state. It's not a function of the administration. We don't track unemployment figures. We don't track business figures, those types of things. I wish I could do more, but I can't in that area. You would have to contact the state or follow those statistics. I also wanted to address, there was a question about the fields, the project that we're doing at Peterson, about the improvements. There is no hockey rink or community center that we're working on just yet. So there are no costs, there are no figures. The items that went out to not bid, but for engineering quotes at this point has been for the tennis courts, the basketball courts, fields 1 and 2. That's where we're at right now. We gave the concept plan out to the council. They've reviewed it. They've have the concept plan. We sent out for engineering quotes so we can move forward with that. We're not at a stage where we're looking at the community center or possible hockey rink or any of those areas just yet. We're working in stages on that. So we're working in piecemeal, but we put a concept plan out. But like I said, that doesn't mean that everything is going to be fulfilled all at once. I also wanted to go over, I had an appointment tonight. We've had some people retire from the Citizens Recreation Committee, and I wanted to appoint Ron Cleland to that committee. I had a few of the council people speak to him, and just to give him the expectations as to what the committee does and what, his responsibilities will be. And he seemed to be a good fit and he was excited. So I want to welcome Ron aboard. And
Mayor Puzio,
yes,
There's a vote.
that appointment is with the advice and the consent of the council.
okay. I just wanted to put it out there now. So
Yeah,
when
we'll
you
vote
get,
on it. We'll vote on it later.
yeah, when
Yep.
you get
I
to
just
it,
wanted to make sure we didn't miss it, that's all. I'm
Yep,
sorry.
absolutely.
yeah, Ms. Seaver can present it again. I just wanted to touch upon it. And that is all I have. So I want to thank you for letting me go first, Council President. Thank you.
You're welcome. At this point, I'm going to make a motion to supplement the agenda. There's two resolutions that the council members should have gotten their email at some point today. One was a request to add a motion. It was to add a resolution concerning racism, racial bias, and prejudice after the agenda item 6, the mayor's statement. So right now, so I'd like to make a motion to add that resolution to the agenda. Would anybody second it?
I'll second it.
That's Mr. Sackett, seconded, Vice President Sackett. Can we take the roll call, clerk? You're muted, Chrissy.
Thank you. Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Manny, you're muted.
Yes, sorry.
Councilmember Stolberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses. That resolution will be added to the agenda. Chrissy, should I add, could we vote on that first? And then go to the next supplement, or you want me to do the supplement next?
well, let's at least assign this a number.
Okay.
I think
So
we
it's
should supplement the agenda first and then we'll move on with the rest.
Okay, so it's going to be R20.
I'm flipping.
Yep.
35.
135.
136.
136,
Okay.
okay. Next, I'm going to make a motion to add the resolution entitled authorizing renewal of club liquor license for the period of July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, consistent with the acting alcohol and beverage control established B. Graziano's April 13th, 2020, Directive A-2020-02, extending the statutory renewal date to September 30th, 2020, to the consent agenda. So, could I have a motion and a second to do that?
So
We're
moved.
adding this to the consent agenda?
I'm sorry?
We're adding this to the consent agenda?
Correct.
Yes.
That was Councilman Quinn and seconded by Councilman Friedlander.
What was that resolution number again, Joe?
Well, the first one that we added is going to be R20-136.
Got
Does
that.
this go to 135?
Well, we didn't vote on it yet.
Is this different? Is this different than R20, 130?
They're all different.
They're all different. Okay, thank you.
Several liquor license renewals.
Okay, thank you.
Can I take the roll call to add it, Joe?
Yes.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember, oops, sorry. Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses. So that item will be added to the consent agenda. And what will that be, Chrissy?
R20-137.
Okay. Hold on one second. Okay. All right. With that, with those both added, I'm now going to read Resolution R20-136, resolution concerning racism, racial bias, and prejudice. And before I read it, I'd just like to state, as the mayor stated, the council and the mayor both received an email regarding concerns by some citizens. And initially, we were going to reply to the email, and honestly, in speaking to Vice President Sackett, we thought, it brought more meaning to the table to do an actual resolution about how we feel as a town council regarding this. So I'm going to read it now. Again, it's R20-136, resolution concerning racism, racial bias, and prejudice. Whereas Rockaway Township is a diverse community with residents from many racial, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds, and whereas Rockaway Township has a history of welcoming people from all racial, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds, and whereas the history of Rockaway Township up to the present has not been characterized by racial conduct, and whereas the Rockaway Township Council is aware of two recent incidents involving the defacing of signage and racist statements made to a local business owner, and whereas the Rockaway Township Council is also aware that the mayor and administration took immediate steps to direct investigation of those incidents by the police department, and whereas the Rockaway Township Council recognizes that racism as well as ethnic or cultural prejudices are inappropriate in any form and damaging to the fabric of any civilized society, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Rockaway, County of Morris, and State of New Jersey as follows. A, the council condemns racism as well as racial, ethnic, or cultural prejudice in any form. B, the council urges all members of the Rockaway Township community to remain vigilant for acts of racism, bias, ethnic, and/or cultural prejudice, and to immediately report same to the proper authorities. C, the council vows to work closely with the mayor and administration to address any and all acts of racism, bias, and ethnic and/or cultural prejudice. I hereby certify the above to be true. Copy the resolution. Oh, that's at the end. So that's the resolution. Is there any discussion or anything any council members want to discuss before we vote on it?
Council President?
Yes.
Our policy and procedure manual somewhat duplicates that when we have racism and bullying and all that. So we do have something in place even prior to this incident that addresses racism and bullying and so forth. Isn't that correct?
I wouldn't be as familiar with the policy and procedure manual as Mrs. Seeger would be, but I believe it is in there, yes.
I mean, the other thing is, and I tried to ask earlier, do you happen to know where the status of the investigation is concerning?
I don't think it's appropriate to discuss the status of an active investigation. I don't think we've ever discussed that. So,
well, the only reason why I asked that was that Mr. Walwork was asking questions, and I just wanted to make sure that we were answering and addressing each item of his email to us. And it is confirming that you did not send your email of 8/4/2020 at 11:06 a.m. right? That you didn't send that out?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You wrote an email to
Yes, no, I did not. Correct. I did not send that out. Correct.
Should we maybe read that to the record too, of that record?
No, I think that was the plan, and we're not going with that plan. Initially, like I said, we thought, Jonathan and I first thought that might be the right thing to do, would just be to respond to the email, but we think this covers more. But,
it does. I just thought we can give Mr. Walwork a little bit more information to his original email.
He can call me. My number's on the website. He could call Mr. Sackett. His number's out there, and we could speak to him for sure. Does anybody else have anything they want to discuss about before we take a vote? All right, Ms. Clipperton, you can take the roll call.
Did we have a motion and a second for that, Joe?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Friedlander and Mr. Kelly.
Okay.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Chris, Councilmember
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses. The resolution is approved. Next, we are going to go on to item 7 on the agenda, the approval of the July 14th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Yeah, it was Mr. Quinn and Mr. Salberg.
thank you.
Yes.
Councilmember Kelly,
Abstain.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember News,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 7 yeses, 1 abstention, or the minutes are approved.
Council President, I just have, if I could be recognized, I have one question just with procedure. Do we need to vote on excusing Mr. Kritz for his absence?
No.
Okay.
Next, we're going to move on to open to the public. I first ask Mrs. Seeger, did we get any emailed questions?
No, we did not, sir.
Chrissy, I guess I would just ask you to go through one by one like we normally do.
Sure.
Yep.
Can I ask, just a lot of people are not muted. It's very hard to hear. Could everyone please mute if you're not talking?
And for those of you joining the call for the first time, please state your name and your address before you ask your question, and everybody has 5 minutes speaking time.
I have Maria Salazzo. Do you wish to speak?
Oh, Andrea Talato, 22 Titus, Dover, New Jersey.
I'm sorry, I didn't, could you say that again? And again, everybody could you mute if
Everybody
you
can mute, please.
Oh, Andrea Salato, 22 Titus Street, Dover, New Jersey.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I wasn't going to speak, but then I called in because I'm a part of the Rockaway Unity group, and then I'm listening to the letter, and I'm an African American in this community, and I've lived here and went to high school here at Morris Knolls, and I've had incidents where administration in the high school, actually at Morris Knolls, told me that being a nigger, and I will say that on this public forum, can be any color from purple, yellow, or orange. And I'm not really understanding what's going on, or why can't we hear about the email that you were going to write, or just, even talk about it, because I've experienced racism in this community in Rockaway Township. I decided to stay here with my children, and I'm just feeling that you guys are glossing over it. Also, when the resolution was being spoken to, it would be appreciative if the council members did actually look at the camera and act, and show some interest in anti-racism, because I have decided to have my kids grow up in this town, and to feel like they wouldn't be noticed, or that it would be addressed, but it feels like it's being glossed over, like it's not an important issue. So I really want to speak, and I didn't have any intention to speak, but I'm speaking.
Hello? Andrea?
Feel comfortable enough to put out a public statement ended. I am an engineer, a program manager, and a parent and a mom in the corporate world. If you're not, maybe you need leadership training. If you don't feel comfortable enough in your statement to release a statement that all the public can see, that I would have to have a phone call with you or a private conversation, or to know what you're going to do, or to even ask about your personal agenda or life. It's just something that as a leader you should be able to do. Leaders have to do it every day. I have to do it every day. Taxes, you're a part of the taxes. I vote you in, and you should be speaking as a leader and sending the anti-racist message out on behalf of the township. And
We're good.
I don't know Tucker Kelly personally, and I don't know
Oh, you
him
did fine.
that you should Tucker Kelly actually saying you should send the email out. There should be nothing in that you should be afraid to send out. If you have written it on a piece of paper, you should be able to send it out to the public. And this is like a young age and has grown up here. And I would appreciate it as a taxpayer that you send that email out and that you address us publicly and you don't just gloss over it.
Read your email, Mr. Jackson.
Hey, Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. Be quiet. So I'll address your concerns. So number one, I'm not sure how creating a resolution and reading it in public is glossing over it. Number two, the email really didn't say anything different than the resolution. We stand against any type of racial bias. We know that the incidences that occurred, I was informed of them that they were being investigated right away. So I'm not sure how, because instead of sending an email, I decided to put it in the form of a resolution, isn't being a leader and is glossing over it. But, nothing surprised me. It comes out of your mouth, Mr. Kelly.
Well, the email and the resolution are different.
Mr.
Doesn't
Jackson,
matter.
I can't hear
It was the
anything
same. It was the same message.
Then
It was
read
the
it.
same message. So, okay, so that's your 5 minutes. Did you have anything else you wanted to say before you got off?
Oh, no, Mr. Jackson, I didn't hear anything that you said because it was going like the whole thing froze. I don't know. I think everybody else said that it froze too on the group that I'm in.
What I said was, can you hear me now? I can't hear you. All right. What I said was there was nothing in my email that really wasn't in the resolution, and I decided as a leader it was better to take a stand and issue a resolution that spoke about the incidences that occurred. And I'm not glossing over anything.
And just read it.
Mr. Kelly, how about muting and waiting till you're recognized instead of
I'm
being
just
out of
asking you to
order?
read it. If it's the same, read it to him.
I don't
He
have it in
deserves
front
to
of me,
be read
Mr.
that
Kelly. I don't have it in
information.
front of me. Just stop. You're not recognized. Just stop. Ms. Clipperton, you're on the next caller.
Barbara Nyberg, would you like to speak? She muted herself.
Okay.
Oh. Barbara?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, if you could just state your name and address, please.
My name is Barbara Niebart. I live at 36 Nona Avenue in White Meadow Lake.
Thank you.
I also wanted to address there's a lot of static.
Yeah, it's hard to hear anybody.
You're cutting in and out, Barbara. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me better now?
A little bit, yes.
I think it's really important to put word out to the community. The council. There are a lot of people in the community who it's really a thing. Can you hear me? I'm seeing heads shake.
It's hard to hear you. You're breaking up. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I can hear her fine.
Okay. then I feel that it's to give it a name. When you guys first made your response, the word racism was not in it. And I think that it's really important for the community to hear you say it. And something named, you can treat it. It can stop before it can be treated. So I think that if it is something that occurs, as soon as it occurs, it needs to be dealt with on a community-wide basis so that we all see it and we all see you working on it, because I think that's an important effort for us to be able to stand. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Let's see if you can go on to the next person.
Brett Friedenson?
I have nothing, thank you.
I have someone on call-in user 2. There are only call-in members. Ellen Benson?
Oh, you on it?
Yes, how do I mute myself?
You're unmuted, Ms. Benson.
Oh, thank you. Actually, there are, as I said, there are several of us here from the group Rockaway Unites, which, as you know, came together.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you say your name and address again, please?
My name is Ellen Benson, and I live at 7 Seneca Avenue in Rockaway, in White Meadow Lake.
Thank you.
Is there any way?
Hey, Chrissy, maybe try muting yourself. I'm going to mute myself. I don't know.
I can hear her perfect.
Well, we
Then everybody else hear her perfect?
I'm not hearing
No.
myself.
Sounds like someone shredding paper.
Kelly, maybe you can
No.
tell everybody what she's saying.
As I was saying, there are several of us here from the group Rockaway Unites, which, as you probably know, came together after some of the protests, due to the George Floyd killing and other episodes of racism. And one thing that we had wanted to do at this meeting, although, and again, I really do appreciate the resolution that the council has made. One thing that we wanted to do was read into the minutes our statement and our petition, which I think is important because it emphasizes a lot of the specific things that we're concerned about. I think gives you guys as the council, a real sense of how anxious we are for some continued, very explicit, concrete action. Can we do that?
Read it.
Okay. All right, I'm going to read the statement about racial justice in Rockaway, New Jersey. And I'd like this to be entered into the minutes. Over the past few days, we have seen a string of racist incidents in Rockaway Township. On July 23rd, a customer spewed racist remarks at a beloved local business. The business owner posted the video on social media. Mayor Puzio issued a statement that failed to name the incident for what it was, racist. Instead, he said the comments made were hurtful and mean-spirited. On July 24th, several community members who are actively involved and or expressing their beliefs about racial justice had a person or persons violate their privacy and personal property specifically Black Lives Matter signs defaced. Although these incidents have been documented on social media and are ever so present, we have not, until tonight, I will add, heard a response from the Rockaway Township local government leadership in response to the latter incident. And I will add that the only person we did hear from was Vice President Sackett, and I do believe also that Mr. Friedlander had joined him in one comment. These incidents are continuous and have occurred online and in person, which include racist comments and actions that have been aimed at and witnessed by many brown and Black citizens of Rockaway Township. Yet, up until tonight again, we have heard nothing from the leadership of the town. We are seeing racists emboldened in their actions in our community and the tolerance by the leadership of these actions. We are seeing more and more the reality of the racist society we live in. Certainly, a timid response by the town leadership does nothing to deter the worst impulses of people. As the activist Angela Davis said, in a racist society, it is not enough to be non-racist, we must be anti-racist. We are calling on the mayor and the leadership of Rockaway Township to engage in anti-racist work and to fully support our town in reaching an anti-racist reality. We are calling on the mayor to publicly state that any hate speech, discriminatory behaviors, etc., will not be tolerated. And again, I'll add that I think that your resolution tonight is a great first step. I really do. We are calling on the mayor to immediately redress the video recorded by the small business owner condemning the racist behavior. We are calling on the mayor to condemn and to direct the police to investigate the vandalism of private property. And I do know that the police investigation has been ongoing, but to date, none of the people who made police reports have gotten any follow-up at all from the police. So, we have no idea what's going on. We are calling on the mayor, the town council, and any representative of the larger community, whether it be within the town hall or the educational system, to engage in a series of anti-racist trainings and policies. We are calling for the creation of an anti-racism task force to address these problems in this town. And as you know, it was signed by several residents, Nick Walward, Megan Heim, Andrea Salazzo, Gaetano Salazzo. I know Andrea called in. And it also was signed by 2 members of the Morristown Black Lives Matter group, Tiana Kimboro and Oliver Starnes. And as you also know, there's almost 300 other signatures on the petition. So again, I'd really like to have that just entered into the minutes of this meeting. I'm very glad that you have the resolution. I think it's a great first step, but I think, as I said, it's a first step. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time. And Chrissy, I'll get you a copy of the letter so you can have it for the minutes. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. Next. Next caller.
Emily Coleman.
What?
I have M. Cole. Would you like to speak?
No,
Go ahead on.
I support Ellen and I support Barbara, and I hope that you guys can come together and really take this issue seriously, because it is very serious and there's a lot of people that are hurting right now, and I hope you guys hear our voices. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Heather S.
Hi, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I just asked that the host mute herself. It's very difficult to hear when you're unmuted.
Yep.
If you could just state your name and your address, please.
Yes, my name is Heather Falcone. I live at 73 Cayuga Avenue, Rockaway, New Jersey, in White Meadow Lake. First, I want to say good evening, Rockaway Town Council, and if Mayor Puzio had stayed on the line, good evening to him as well. Thank you for hosting this virtual meeting. I'm speaking tonight in regards to the blatant acts of racism in Rockaway and the lack of response from our elected officials. Specifically, I'm talking about the racist verbal attack on the owner of Zoe Lily's Empanada food truck, the racist vandalization of the Black Lives Matter signs in White Meadow Lake, and the targeted letters put in the mailboxes of White Meadow Lake residents who have Black Lives Matter signs on their property. We, Rockaway residents, demand to know how Rockaway Township elected officials have planned to address incidents of racism in our community. Are there any policies in place? Is this even a conversation you are having? When researching on the Rockaway Township website, no policies or programs addressing racism in the community could be found. This is a problem. We demand change. The facts are clear. When members of the community that you work for and represent made a stance to stand with and for Black lives, they were targeted and met with racism. When a beloved local Latino small business owner was doing his job, he was verbally assaulted and became victim to racial slurs due to a disgruntled customer. This part was from Mayor Puzio, but he decided to leave, so that's on him. But Mayor Puzio, as a Latina and a Rockaway resident, I was especially disappointed and found your response to the Zoe Lily food truck racist incident to be shameful. The comments were not only hurtful and mean-spirited, they were hateful, derogatory, and racist. Yes, racist. Although you may not have wanted to say the word racism or racist, it does not dismiss the fact that racism is alive and well in the town that you were elected to serve. You have the responsibility to let it be known that racism will not be tolerated in Rockaway Township. That customer felt comfortable and empowered to assume someone's race and then berate them because of that assumption. This was a racist attempt to intimidate and scare a local business owner because of his race. Additionally, Rockaway leadership failed to address the vandalization of Black Lives Matter signs and failed to acknowledge the racist attack against the owner of the local food truck. Rockaway leadership failed to respond to the letter sent by the community last week. This is unacceptable and we demand accountability. You have the responsibility to ensure that all residents feel safe in this community, which includes the Black and Brown residents. You have the responsibility to stand up against racism and racist behavior and to call these actions for what it is, racism. I'll conclude with reminding you all of the definition of racism, a belief that race is the primary cause of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. Thank you.
Thank you. You got on mute, Chrissy.
James Ward.
I have no comment. Thank you.
I have Janice Tell.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, this is Janice Padel. I live at 115 West Lakeshore Drive in Rockaway. I'm upset by the recent acts of racism in our town. I'm a white woman who raised two biracial children in this town, and I knew that they struggled in many ways to fit in while growing up, but I never wanted to believe it was about race. Now that they're adults, they're opening up to me more and more about what they endured and tried to protect me from. Now, with a renewed national conversation about racism, this undercurrent is rising to the surface for all to see. I've been appalled at events around the country, although I recognize that racism and violence against Black people and other people of color is not new, but is newly publicized, and I applaud this new visibility, at least new to those who were not exposed to it in the past. Still, I hadn't thought it was a big factor here in Little Rockaway. It hit me in the face, however, on July 24th when I went out to walk my dogs and found the Black in my Black Lives Matter sign whited out with spray paint. This was not random vandalism, but a specific statement to delete Black from the all lives that supposedly matter. It hit me again on August 3rd when I found an anonymous letter in my mailbox titled, "Things to Consider Before You Support Black Lives Matter. Use Your Brain." The letter equates Black Lives Matter with, quote, radical communist and socialist agendas and anarchists, and notes that it, quote, is not glamorous, it's terrifying. It directs the reader to explore the horrors of rogue socialists like Hitler, communists Stalin and Lenin, or Karl Marx. The letter was actually taken from a July 6th, 2020 op-ed in the Summit Daily in Colorado by Garnet Payne. To shed some light on her perspective, in 2017, she retweeted an article defending Robert E. Lee. The letter in my mailbox was targeted to people displaying Black Lives Matter signs and was embedded with hate, racism, and misinformation clearly meant to intimidate those speaking up against racism. I'm concerned by the resistance of our elected officials and public servants to actually name and condemn this and other racist acts as racism. The mayor tonight implied we were protesting wrong by saying we should have talked to him instead of writing a petition. This is a tactic I've seen over and over by focusing on the means of protest rather than on the content of what is said. I agree with the statement about racial justice in Rockaway, New Jersey. It's not a cure, but it's a start. To fix racism, we have to first recognize and name it. Naming it helps you see wherever it is hiding and insidiously poisoning our community. Once we see it, we can begin to find solutions through an anti-racism task force. Sometimes when something is ever present, it becomes invisible, but that doesn't mean it doesn't make you sick. It's like a too small shoe. You don't realize, or maybe you just accept and ignore how much is hurting you and hampering you until you finally take it off and feel free. The solution to racism in our community and our society is not as simple as kicking off our shoes, but we need to start somewhere and take the first steps. Now, my son William is here as well on a different account. So can he have the next spot?
Sure, go ahead. Is he at the same address?
He's right here, same address.
Okay, go ahead, William.
My front yard, unapologetically. Y'all don't understand. You haven't understood. You don't actually live through me. You represent me, but you don't live what I've experienced. So don't say that you're against racism when it's been hampering me, when it's been hampering those I associate with, when it's been hampering every person of color around here for so long. I don't believe it. When I was punished in school, it was the maximum every time because I am Black. And that is unfortunately the realization I have come to. Yeah, I was acting out of turn sometimes. I can accept that. But every single time they crack down on me hard, don't say you understand. Stop running for re-election right in front of me. I want transparency because I don't feel safe. I'm telling you right now, no matter what pretty words you say, not enough is being done. It should have been done years ago. Yet, when I was 6 in my front yard, called nigger. All throughout middle school, called nigger. In high school, called nigger. Every time, it's a zero sum. It don't matter. You haven't helped me. The mayor tried to shut down our action. He was on Facebook Live. He was coming up about a mask. Don't lie to my face. I don't want to accuse anyone of being a monster. I think you're all human beings. How come I don't get a fair say? How come I don't get a fair treatment? I'm a Black bisexual man. I live out here. I exist out here. Represent me. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you for your time. Chrissy, next caller. You're muted.
Jill Cadman?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm Jill Cadman. I live at 63 West Lakeshore Drive in Rockaway. I've lived in White Meadow Lake since I was a kid. I love it here and was happy to raise our son in Rockaway. I am also a member of the Rockaway Unites group. We formed in early June to stand in unity against racism. We now have over 400 members. A number of us are here tonight. As you've heard, this is what we are here to do, to stand against racism. In addition to being one of the founders of Rockaway Unites, I also placed a Black Lives Matter sign on our front lawn to oppose racism. I had been warned by a number of people that the sign might be stolen. A number of others had been. I placed the sign some distance from the road, but wanted it visible. On July 24th, I woke up to find that our sign had been vandalized. The word black had been spray painted white. This changed the sign to White Lives Matter, or just Lives Matter. These slogans are closely associated with All Lives Matter, which is widely known to be used by white supremacist groups and racists in an effort to dismiss and diminish the impact and significance of saying specifically that Black Lives Matter. It was an intentional and aggressive racist act. It was significant that the perpetrator or perpetrators chose to do something criminal by trespassing on private property and committing vandalism, rather than simply placing a sign on their own lawn with their beliefs, making this an anonymous and cowardly act. It was carried out on other homes in White Meadow Lake as well. It was done in the middle of the night while my family slept inside. It actually made me feel sick when I saw it. It made me feel unsafe and worried for my family's safety. I should not feel unsafe in my home for peacefully expressing my views with a sign on my own front lawn. It is not right for people who oppose that view to vandalize the sign. It gave me a previously unknown insight into what it felt like to be targeted by racists. I do not pretend to ever be able to know what it feels like to experience anti-Black racism at any possible moment because of the color of your skin. It did make me realize to what extent I have been protected by white privilege my entire life. Rockaway Township Police Department officer came to my house and wrote up an incident report for vandalism. There has been no follow-up on this, nor has it been addressed by the mayor in any way, despite it happening to several homes. I do acknowledge that it has been addressed tonight in a resolution, which I do feel is a great first step, as some of the other members of Rockaway United and other residents have said. I want to reiterate demand number 4 of the statement, which was read by Ellen. We are calling on the mayor to condemn and direct the police to investigate the vandalism of public property. In addition, transparency in this investigation and an update on the status. Lastly, I would just like to say that having a phone call, a private phone call behind closed doors with the mayor does not address what we're talking about. I'm not saying that it's not a valuable thing to do. We do want to talk to the mayor and we will reach out. But this is something that needs to be discussed in a public forum, such as tonight and hopefully going forward. I really do appreciate the resolution. It means a lot to us that it's been addressed and the word racism has been said. And we really look forward to working with all of you on the council and the mayor as we go forward on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Chrissy, next caller.
Lisa Felber.
She said it called, she doesn't answer.
So she can get online.
I guess move on.
Martha Felber.
Yep, that's me. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, please state your name and address.
Martha Topper, Topper, 33 Wall Street, Rockaway, New Jersey.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey guys, hello Rockaway Town Council. I'm a Rockaway Borough resident. I've lived here for over 10 years. I have been appalled by the recent acts of racism in our borough and township. I'm also shocked at the neglect by our elected officials and public servants to condemn this racist behavior. I am demanding better from our elected officials to address and eradicate racism in Rockaway, because while we can post on Facebook, Facebook comments claiming that hate has no home here, it most certainly does. Not only does hate and racism have a home here, it is being protected, harbored, and allowed to grow into action through your inaction and inability to see clearly that people already do live here in fear. Currently on Wall Street in Rockaway Borough, there's a Confederate flag, ironically, directly next to Friendship Field. One can say that we strive to live stigma-free, but to say that we currently live stigma-free or are doing our very best to be is absolutely false and misguided. You have the responsibility and duty to listen and respond to the residents you serve per the experiences and concerns that they currently have, not what you hope they have, are attempting for them to have, or will be attempting for them to have. On the 23rd of last month, the owner of Zolili empanada truck was called racial slurs and degraded. This was a result of him not giving away free sauce to this customer. Having to pay $1 extra for sauce was enough to set forth this onslaught of racism in our town. There are many residents who are appalled by this display of hate and racism. It was indicated that the racist comments on the video towards Raphael would not be tolerated. What does that mean to you? How does that manifest? What would you be willing to work in line with the anti-racism demands shared with you in the recent petition sent by Nick Walwork? What is your timeline and further actions to make the elusive quote-unquote stigma-free motto ring true? Will racist actions that are not rallied around as much as Zoe Lilly receive as much attention from the township? Because if we don't have a whole bunch of people posting it on Facebook, how is that going to get your attention? What does standing up for racial bias mean to you? Please share that with us, because there's a vacuum of a lack of information caused by your inaction and lack of clarity that is allowing for the propagation of further acceptance of racism and prejudice, and is being mistaken as acceptance of those types of racist actions. A case in point, Confederate flag next to Friendship Field. And I yield my time. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Martha. Chrissy, you go to the next caller. You're muted.
I have Mary Finkenor.
No, thank you.
Pat Decker.
No comments tonight, thank you.
Patrick Egan.
No comments, thank you.
Rachel Grismer.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hold, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So, I just wanted to say thank you for holding this.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you just repeat your name and your address, please?
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
My name is Rachel Grismer. I am 25. I live in Wharton, New Jersey on Main Street.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. Okay. I just wanted to say thank you for holding this virtual meeting. I'm an African American woman, so racism is definitely something that I deal with on a daily basis. You know, I've worked in Rockaway for many months and many years, and I know that racism is very prevalent. I'm a part of Rockaway Unite. I reside in Wharton. I just wanted to say I'm deeply disturbed, and I don't have peace of mind right now due to the actions that have been taking place in Rockaway. And another thing I did want to mention, don't take this the wrong way, there's a lot of hostility in this group, and it's almost hard to speak in it, you know? Another thing I wanted to say, as a mayor, I mean, you know, you're supposed to represent the town. And I know he's not here, but when you don't stand for part of the community, it shows very strongly in other communities. And I know that people are no longer going to be silent about it, and we demand answers. I do have some questions. What are your thoughts on the Black Lives Matter movement as a whole? Also, do you believe that racism exists in this town? How did it make you feel when you found out that many Black Lives Matter signs were defaced? Were you angered? How do you feel it has affected the community as a whole? How do you intend on ensuring the safety of those whose signs were defaced? There are many people who are genuinely concerned with the actions that have arisen. Have you spoken to those who are concerned? The mayor is not in this meeting right now, so I'm not gonna say my last two questions. That's all I have, and I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me the time to speak, and if you have time to answer the questions, please do. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I'd like to get through all the callers. So Chrissy, if you can go to the next caller.
Ron Cleland?
No comment.
And Joe, I'm just going to do a quick run through to see if anyone else had logged in. I have an A Valley.
Well,
Property tax, like lien, or no?
well, we're also voting for,
Which was going to be dictated by.
I have Colin Peter 4.
Call in number 4. Okay, go on to the next.
I have a Dr. Kimberly, and I'm sorry, but I can't see your last name.
Dr. Kimberly Morse, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hello. I live at 62 Stephen Place in Rockaway, New Jersey in the Birchwood section. Before I actually moved here just a couple years ago from White Meadow Lake, where I lived since 2009. I am one of the founding members of Rockaway Unites, and what concerns me is the seemingly ongoing pervasive actions that are being increasingly targeted more outwardly against our minority members here in this town. My own fiance is actually Native American, but he looks Hispanic. And not 1 month ago, he was at a friend's house in White Meadow Lake. A friend sold him his boat. So here's my fiance, who looks Spanish, is there to pick up this boat. He has a friend who is biracial going with him to leave the lake. The security guard of White Meadow Lake followed my fiance, who's lived in Rockaway Township for several years as well, out of the lake. He literally chased him out of the lake all the way down Route 46 to the light in Denville by the Burger King. The next day, he was bragging to a white man who happened to be the friend that my fiance bought the boat from, that he chased this Spanish guy out of the lake. Now, the problem here is that that white friend of ours, his wife is Spanish. She was approached by the same security guard in White Meadow Lake for being on the beach that she's allowed to be on. These are all things that happened last month. This isn't something that happened years ago. These are recent events. These are current events. And when we've asked for any type of comment on anyone to say these are racist acts, what happened to Zoe Lilies is a racist attack. What's happening to our Black and minority community members, this isn't just bias. This is bias because of a person's race, which there go makes it racism. It is wrong, and there needs to be a definitive stand from the community as a whole against these actions and against this type of conversation. When we sugarcoat these actions and we sugarcoat the events that happen as bias and as forceful speech or whatever nice terms they want to make it, what it does is it gives these people the right to feel obligated to continue acting in these egregious manners. It allows people to feel they have the right to go onto people's private property to deface their property. It literally emboldens people to feel like they are privileged and have the right to do that without fear of any repercussion. There needs to be some form of strong statement from the leadership in this township against these acts. My own daughter is mixed. She's white and half Native American, but guess what? She looks Spanish. What does that mean for her? She's 5 years old. What does that mean for her life growing up? I'm going to have to stand behind her and make sure no one messes with her now. And really, what parent wants to do that for the rest of their lives? I do thank you for your time, and I thank you for addressing this.
Thank you. Chrissy, next caller.
That looks like, it looks like we've gotten everyone, Joe.
Okay, so I'd like to just say, if anybody did, we try to hit everybody. This isn't perfect. If your name was called and maybe you weren't off the mute quick enough, like I said, the mayor said, feel free to reach out to anybody on the council, your ward council person, or myself or the mayor. So I think we hit everybody, but if we didn't, feel free to reach out to us. And I'd just like to point out again, I know the mayor touched on it, but the mayor's a guest at this meeting. He's not required to be at this meeting. He had an event previously scheduled about a month ago that involves children in Rockaway, and he didn't want to miss it. And I know he wanted to be here for this, but he had committed to be at this event with these children. And so, I can understand why he's there. So next item on the agenda is the ordinances to introduce.
Are you going to answer any of the questions of the callers?
I believe our statement answered the questions of the callers.
I don't believe so. Some of the questions are outside of the statement.
So go ahead, Mr. Kelly. You can answer questions. Go ahead.
Well, I think we need to actually unite, like they're saying, to come in there to come up with some type of a solution for the ongoing problem. And I'll read here to make it part of the record. You had asked us on the 4th of August to respond to you by the end of the day with regard to a letter that you were going to send out to Mr. Walwork.
Oh, Mr. Kelly.
And with that, knowing that we had no internet access or server for 2 days, we couldn't respond to you by the end of that day to put our ideas in there, our concerns, and address it.
Mr. Kelly, I'm just going to stop you. Number one,
please get
recognized. You're not recognized, Mr. Kelly. You're not recognized, Mr. Kelly. You're not recognized, Mr. Kelly. I'm calling you out of order.
If you are not in support, please indicate that, as I will note to the email
you're out of order.
The council members.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
You gave me the floor.
I'm not giving you the floor. You're out of order. You're
I want to read your original response and you won't read to those individuals.
You're not recognized, Mr. Kelly.
Why don't you want this read?
It doesn't matter. I can read it myself. You know what? I'll send it to all of them. I'll send the response out from myself later.
Why can't you put it on the record now and have it on the record?
Why are you always so angry, Mr. Kelly? Why
are you not angry? I want to answer and help these people out.
Stop trying to get votes. We're conducting business.
I'm not running an election.
Yes,
I'm not getting family members' jobs.
You're up next year. You're always running for
No,
election.
I'm not.
So the next item is ordinance O-20-15, repealing and replacing Chapter 4, Section 6, towing, road service, and storage of vehicles of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Rockaway in their entirety. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second that.
You can take the roll call when you're ready.
We're going to have any discussion?
No.
We had it last time on discussion of introduction. There's some things that we might need to address before.
It is not mandatory to have discussion.
I understand that. We did that last time.
Council President.
If you'd like to make a motion for discussion, make it, and if it gets second, we'll vote on it.
I'd like to make a motion for discussion on some of the items there that maybe you can assist some of them, because it's dealing with increases for.
Would anybody like to second Mr. Kelly's motion?
I didn't finish my motion. You know what, Council President, if I can describe the motion so that the other members know what it's in reference to vote on.
Go ahead, describe it. Go ahead.
The motion is to look at some areas that are in there. I think there's some room that there should be additional charges that the vendors can charge, especially concerning indoor storage, comparing to other municipalities.
That's not a motion, Mr. Kelly. That's not a motion. That's discussion.
I know.
Your motion is to have discussion. No. That's discussion. Does anybody want to second his motion?
What's the motion, Mr. Jackson?
To have discussion on the ordinance, Mr. Kelly. That's what you want to do. So nobody seconded your motion, so let's go ahead and have the vote. You're muted, Chrissy. Just want to, yeah.
Councilmember Kelly?
Abstain.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 7 yeses, 1 abstention. The next ordinance is 0-20-16, amending and supplementing Chapter 17, Parks and Recreational Facilities, Articles 1.1, 1.3, 2.1, and 2.3 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Rockaway.
A motion to have discussion on that, Council President?
We didn't even make a motion on it yet, so would anybody like to make a motion on it?
I make a motion.
Second.
A second.
Okay, Mr. Quinn and Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly's made a motion to have discussion on this ordinance. Does anybody like the second?
It deals with private
I
property.
second.
Tucker, I'll second it.
I'll second
Thank
it.
you.
Okay. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
I just need a second to record all of this.
Yeah, that was Mr. Brooks.
Thank you.
No, it wasn't. It was Mr. Sackett.
Well, I seconded it also.
Well, it's only one. It's not two.
Sackett can have it.
Thank you. I'm just going to pull up the
So
ordinance
you
in
can
front of
take
me.
the, clerk, you can take the roll call on moving it out, move the motion for discussion.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Jonathan, you're muted.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses, so the items are moved. So Mr. Kelly, you wanted to discuss it?
I do. I'm just going to give me 1 second to pull this up here. I'm trying to get on the video and that at the same time. One thing I will say, though, I know that Councilman Salberg had originally brought it up to the attorney, Mr. Yatrofano, prior to bringing it up at a council meeting. And I agree that, we have these beautiful bodies of water that we should be able to use regarding kayaking, boating, and whatnot. And currently, many of them are not subjected to that type of activity. But I have one question concerning if we allow boating and the ability to go onto those areas, if there's more usage now, because let's say Lake Ames, for instance, and maybe Mr. Salberg can chime in because he's been in that area since 97, 98. It's not a common used area, and the accessibility for a life raft or a boat, even access for boats or trailers to go into that body of water, or it even could be Egbert's Lake, is that something that we're going to address if we allow the usage of different style of boats on those bodies of water?
Well, I think the decision was made to open it up to the residents when it was cleared and picnic tables were brought on, and as a fairly regular, fairly bit of traffic right now. Again, what we're looking at is not boats or trailers. We're looking at kayaks. We're looking at canoes. We're looking at small recreational vessels. They already have accessibility to Split Rock. Does not seem to have been a problem there. Green Pond, Lake Telemark, White Meadow Lake has had boating for forever. I haven't seen any real negative impact there, so I don't expect any negative impact here.
I don't think it was negative impact that I was questioning, Mr. Salberg, and I wasn't actually asking you for an answer. I was asking the administration just that you would have some maybe feedback. But
Well,
the areas that you said, the areas that you said, Split Rock and White Meadow Lake, well, those are things that have always had boating availability. Lake Ames has not. Lake Egbert has not. Malho Pond has not. So they don't have a boat ramp. They don't have an access for kayakers like Split Rock does for a safe entry into the water. The other thing is one of the bodies of water that's noted in there is Lake Telemark, which is privately owned. So are we dealing with Rockaway Township, or are we dealing with privately owned waters as well? Or are we mixing that together? Does anybody have
That
an
was
answer
one
to
of
that?
the, that was one of the questions that I had. I didn't know if Lake Telemark was privately owned or not. That was the question I had.
It is private, yeah.
Yeah, I will say that the original intent was Mount Hope, Egberts, and Lake Ames. I can't answer to why Telemark was on the final, and yeah, I agree with you that that is something that should be discussed.
Yeah,
Or, you know, or
here we
removed.
are voting the introduction of this thing. That's why I think it's necessary sometimes. Though, like the clerk said, it's not a requirement to have discussions, but it's better to have these discussions before the adoption of them, and minimize some of that where we can address these issues so we can adopt them without any questions or controversy or delay, much like the towing ordinance that we just voted on without any discussion. So, I mean, those are things that I think we need to address and look at, because opening up these other bodies of water that have not been open to the public for those uses that are mentioned in that ordinance, there's other things I think for safety, you know, life and limb concerns of accessibility in case there's life-saving, access to the entrance area because there's a bar that goes across and it's rock lined, so you can't drive into that area. Should we modify that in case there is an event? Because in those
Can you
cases,
clarify that? Can you just clarify what you're talking about? A rock line?
well, when you go to Lake Ames, you've been there some time, right?
Of course.
Can you drive in there with a vehicle?
Yes. Yes. There's parking area there.
No,
Which
can you
is
drive
accessible
to the beach area with a vehicle?
I don't expect us to be allowing any vehicles onto a beach.
Well, if we had emergency that would have to go to those individuals in the water and rigs and whatnot, like for instance, White Meadow Lake, you can drive onto the beach. Lake Telemark, you can do the same thing. Split Rock again, and there's an access ramp to get in there. Some of those other bodies of water in different areas, on those other areas that you mentioned, whether it's Lake Egbert, Ames, and Mount Hope, there might be some inability to get some access in the event of rescue. So I'm looking at it on those types of levels too, Mr. Salberg.
Council President Jackson, can I answer this?
Sure.
Okay, these are great questions, Mr. Kelly, and this is an introduction, and it is for you to think about, and I'd be happy to entertain your questions, as the mayor said, if you send them to us. And
You
if
just got
read
them
the
to, you just got them
and if
verbally.
you read the can I finish, please?
Sure.
If you read the statute, it says that the township, the state statute controls all bodies of water, private or non-private. We did not change anything about the private and what they do on those lakes. We just addressed allowing canoeing and trolling and kayaks in the town-owned water bodies. And please send your questions and your concerns about the emergency and everything to us, and we'll get you an answer before you vote on it on the next council meeting. This
And
was
Mrs.
just
Seeger,
an
can I ask-
introduction.
Mrs. Seeger? Mrs. Seeger,
Yes, sir.
did you hear my questions that I just mentioned to you?
Yes, and I said
Thank you.
send them to me,
No,
and I'm not
thank you.
answering them now.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I just had anyone? Can I talk? All right, thank you. The couple questions that I have in dealing with Lake Ames and Lake Egbert are currently not swimming lakes, where Mount Hope Pond is a freshwater spring lake that currently has swimming. And with having that, there's lifeguards present. So if you're going to allow the boating while the lifeguards are there, I've lifeguarded for numerous amount of years, your observation of the water area has a tendency to float towards other objects that are moving above you in the horizon. So I'm a little concerned about when there's people swimming in the lake and the lifeguards are there, that they're going to be kind of taking their eye off of the people and watching the guys that are boating. Is there a possibility of maybe limiting the boating at that lake to when we're actually swimming there?
Or restricted area.
Right, because I mean, or you give the lifeguards, something that they can get out there. But I know for a fact that if you're boating, and I love to boat, so I'm all for the ordinance here. But if you get really hot and you're boating and you jump in the water, well, all of a sudden that's a violation of the water, because there's no swimming outside of the swim lane. So now all of a sudden you have that going on, and used to lifeguarding there. A lot of times people would jump in the water when they're not supposed to, the fishermen, and we'd have to go out there and we'd have to walk around the lake and deal with all those situations. So just something to throw out there to think about, and maybe we can, work on some possible hours of operation for that.
Yeah, so I think this is, as Ms. Seeger mentioned, this is the introduction of the ordinance, and I think these are all great questions. We'll look for administration to answer them before we vote on approving any ordinances. So I'm glad
Maybe we
everybody
should
brought
table
their
this?
questions, and you just always have to interrupt people.
No.
You just always have to interrupt people like a
No, I
child.
don't. Can I be recognized,
Like a
Council
child,
President?
like a child. No, I'm
The
still
councilman is
talking.
not recognized.
You're not recognized, so just
I'm
be
asking you to be
quiet and mute
recognized.
yourself.
I make a
So
motion
I
that
think
we
it's
table
important
this.
that I'm still talking, child.
I'm making
Please
a motion to table it, and
Please
don't call me a
stop.
name like that.
Stop acting like a child, and I'll stop
I'm
calling you
making a
that.
motion to table this introduction of this ordinance.
Would anybody like the second? Now, keep in mind, this is the introduction of the ordinance. This
I
isn't
understand.
final approval.
We're going to make
Would
revisions.
anybody like to second that motion? Okay, let's vote on the introduction of the ordinance, Chrissy.
Give me 1 second.
Yep, take your time.
Councilmember Kelly?
Abstain.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris? Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, it's 7 yeses, 1 abstention. Motion, the ordinance carries. Introduction. Next is CO-20-17, an ordinance amending Chapter 5 entitled General Licensing of the Code of the Township of Rockaway to establish licensing requirements for medical cannabis facilities. Can I have a motion?
Council President, just a question. Can I be recognized? A simple
No.
question about voting.
No.
It's a simple question about voting.
Let's just do the motion first, Mr. Kelly. Would anybody like to make the motion?
I made the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Just a question before we vote on it.
Quick question.
Is anybody currently on medical cannabis on our council?
That would be a HIPAA violation, Council President.
That's a violation
It's
of HIPAA.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's
Well, I
the,
don't know if
the,
they're
child, the
taking
childish
cannabis, if they can vote.
the childish behavior never
Not
stops.
childish. It's a good question. Could be a conflict of interest.
Oh my goodness. All right, clerk, please take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly?
Abstain.
Do you take it? Is that why?
Are you referring that I take drugs, Council President?
I'm sorry, Mr. Quinn. I did
I
not.
said yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 7 yeses, 1 abstention. Next, we're moving on to the consent agenda. So it will be items R-20-125.
No, did we?
You're missing one.
Oh, 20.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Skip one.
Yep, thank you. Sorry about that.
Get a list.
Next is O-20-18, an ordinance amending Chapter 54, Land Use and Development of the Code of the Township of Rockaway to permit medical cannabis facilities. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, you can take the roll call when you're ready.
Councilmember Kelly?
Abstain.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 7 yeses, 1 abstention. Next is the consent agenda. The R20-125, R20-126, R20-127, R20-128, R20-129, R20-130, R20-131, R20-132, R20-133, R20-134, and what was again, Chrissy, R20-135 or 37?
137.
Yeah, 137. And again, R20-137 was authorizing renewal of club liquor license for the period of July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2020, consistent with the acting alcoholic and beverage control RB Graziano's April 13th Directive A-20-02, extending the statutory renewal date to December 30th, 2020. So can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay.
Joe, did you catch that? I didn't catch that.
It was Jack, and was it?
Yes, so moved.
And who seconded?
I second
Yes.
it.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Kelly seconded. Yep.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses. The motion's carry in the consent agenda. Next is item 11. A mayor's appointment, which you spoke about earlier, of the Citizens Rec Committee, Ron Cleland. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses. Congratulations, Mr. Cleland. Next is old business. We have been a lot on the agenda tonight. We have a closed session, so I'm going to limit it to 5 minutes per council member. So does anybody have any old business?
I have it. I just give everybody the floor before me.
Anybody else have old business that would like to speak for Mr. Kelly? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
You can speak first.
The one meeting that we were talking about with regard to the hockey rink, and it's not really the construction costs. I know that the mayor was and the administration's concerned that we can't have that information now. However, we can get attorney opinions and client and attorney privilege information where we can get numbers. But what we can ask, and I did ask some of those questions towards Mr. Brooks, and I didn't receive too much response, but maybe he got information afterwards. Have we come up with any additional projected costs of the actual startup and function of a hockey rink? I mean, looking at the numbers of hockey participants and those that are in Rockaway Township, it seems that the enrollment has dropped. As Mr. Brooks said, it's only 120 people. Hills has now joined Knowles. There's other children in different towns that participate in our league program. Zamboni costs, maintenance of the ice, refrigeration. employees that we would need, anybody that would specialize in that. These are a lot of things that we should put forward before we put a lot of time and effort into creating a concept plan that may have that attached. So have we come up with any numbers with that? No? My next order of business is we were at our most last meeting. We have them only a month apart now for the summer. This is our last summer session until we come into September. But we had the minutes that we approved for the June 23rd council meeting. I do have a council president where he selects what he wants.
Mr. Kelly, your screen is frozen, so if you're talking, we can't hear you. I think you might have gone off. Wait, Mr. Kelly, go back. To the point where you were criticizing me about what I choose to put on or off. You froze after that.
Yeah, that's okay. Mr. Jackson, there was no criticism. I was just stating what you do. I didn't show an opinion on it. I'm disappointed that you don't allow things on the record. However, at that meeting we had July 14th, minutes were approved. And in those minutes, it showed those who attended that meeting virtual. And one of the individuals that did not attend that meeting was our town attorney, Mr. Yachafano. And if you look at the minutes, if you watch the meeting, Mrs. Seeger confirms that as well.
That's not correct, Council President.
I'm sorry?
I said that's not correct, Mr. Kelly.
Well,
just let him finish, Mr. Yachafano.
First of all, I have the floor. I didn't yield it to anybody. So I know you're going to address the attorney for interrupting me. But the minutes
I just did. I just told him, let you finish.
Right. Clearly, the minutes reflect that Mr. Yachafano was not a participant in the meeting. Remember, you guys went after a council member for participating virtual or by phone, which was not allowed. But I have an invoice from Mr. Yachafano for participating and attending the council meeting virtual. So I got a $522 expense. The administrator confirmed that Mr. Yachafano did not attend the regular meeting. The minutes reflect that we all voted on show that he did not attend the regular meeting, but his billing here shows that he did attend and charged us. Is that an error by chance? Is that something that was inadvertently done? Or do you feel that you can charge for your lack of participation in that regular meeting?
Council President?
Mr. Kelly has the floor unless he's yielding it to you.
No, I yield my time to Mr. Yachafano to answer. It's just a question of accounting.
May I proceed, Council President?
Absolutely, you have the floor.
Okay. At that meeting, as I think Ms. Seeger will verify, I attempted to sign in via the computer. I was unable to do that. I had an ongoing dialogue by text with Ms. Seeger when the meeting had started. I was auditing the whole meeting, but for some reason, which I still don't know, I couldn't get on the web link to the meeting. I, in fact, was on the entire meeting by telephone because, as we will recall, there was a dial-in alternative. In fact, you might remember yourself, Council President, that at one point I indicated that I was there by telephone.
Correct.
So that is
No, Mrs. Seeger said you weren't.
Mr. Kelly, I'm not here to debate what Ms. Seeger said or didn't say, okay? I know that Mr. Perrone was on the meeting as well. I believe he was successful in establishing the computer link. That's really all I have to say about it.
Thank you.
So Mr. Yachafano wasn't participant virtually. Mrs. Seeger indicated that he wasn't on the phone nor virtual. The minutes show that he didn't participate, but yet he bills us, and that's okay.
Nice misstatement, Mr. Kelly, as usual.
It's not. Your records show it. The record shows it.
What record shows what, Mr. Kelly?
Mr. Yachafano, the minutes show you didn't participate in the meeting, on the regular meeting.
What shows?
The minutes.
Mr. Kelly, I don't pass the minutes.
So you're saying the minutes are incorrect?
To the extent that the minutes show that I did not participate or attend the meeting, I attended the meeting as I've just told you.
Well, everybody else says that you didn't participate because they voted in favor for the minutes.
Who's everybody else, Mr. Kelly?
The other council members that did that.
The council president just told you he was aware that I was on the meeting by telephone.
Well, obviously that's not true because the council president voted that showed that you were not part of the meeting.
Okay. I'll remind
You're
the
changing the
council-
council president's vote.
I'll remind the council they have the ability to amend the minutes at any time. That's all I have to say.
All right.
So you want to
Does
amend
anybody
minutes and you
else
didn't participate?
Does anybody else have any old business?
Am I done, Mr. President?
Yeah, you had 7 minutes, and you gave the floor to Mr. Yachfano, so I gave you 2 more
Gotta
minutes.
give up
So you
my
had
time,
7 minutes.
Mr. Yachfano.
That's all right. So anybody else have any old business? Okay. And just for the record, I have no control over what is on the minutes. I'd like to make a motion to take a 5-minute recess, please. I have a request for a recess. Does anybody object to taking a 5-minute recess?
Do we need to make a vote?
No.
No. No. All right. So it's 8:12. Please be back by 8:17. And everybody make sure you mute your phones. All right. 8:17. Just got a couple people waiting to come back.
Can you hear me, Joe?
Yep.
Okay, so then I'm muting myself now.
Okay, thank you. All right. We're just waiting for Mr. Sackett.
I'm here.
All right, good. All right. Moving on to new business. Again, we have closed session come up, so I'm going to limit it to 5 minutes per council member. Anybody have new business?
I got some new business. I'll let it go before anybody else know.
All right. What'd you say, Mr. Kelly? You want to go first?
No, I said I always have new business, but I would if somebody wants to go before me.
All right, Mr. Quinn.
Yes, my recommendation is that if we are going to have different changes to the agenda, that we have a rev on the agenda. If we do a change, this way we don't constantly have to go back to make sure we have the up current one. This way, if it's changed once or twice, we put it on there. The most current one would be Rev 2, Rev 3. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Good idea, Mr. Quinn.
Anybody else?
As far as new business, or does he have any more?
I think he's done. So go ahead, Mr. Kelly. The floor is yours.
I have a couple. Like I said, I know that we have 5 minutes, but Mr. Jackson, if you could just be somewhat considerate and give me some consideration since it's been a month since the last meeting. One is with new business is maintenance. Can we do a maybe a maintenance plan or put something in place regarding our backup generator for town hall? Is that something we have power outages and for whatever reason, I'm not sure that our backup generator comes in. As I had indicated before, we had our internet that was down on the 4th of August as well as the 5th. And I'm not sure if it was just communication related or if it was that we didn't have power for the servers. Is that something that we have in place, or do we need to put that in place? Hello?
I don't know if Ms. Seeger wants to answer that or has an
Why
answer
wouldn't
for
you
that.
want to answer it? We couldn't get on our email.
Mr. Jackson, the email was down because the wire for the building came down in the storm. So the actual line for the internet was down. The township never lost power. It had nothing to do with power.
That's what I thought. Okay.
No, I've heard otherwise, but that's okay. But do we have
Ms. Seeger, you were in the building that day, weren't you?
I'm sorry?
Ms.
Yes,
Seeger,
I
you were,
was. Yes,
the
I
lights
was,
were on,
Mr.
right? There was
Yes,
power, right? Okay.
There was
Thank you.
There was but from what I understand, there might have been equipment that was off and that may have lost power that tried to reset itself too. So maybe when Mrs. Seeger wasn't there and after hours, maybe we lost power?
We never lost power. I was there till 6 o'clock at night.
So we don't know if we lost power between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning?
I'm telling you, we didn't lose any power.
Okay, that's all. But the generator works though.
Yes, and it's tested on a regular basis.
Okay. The other thing is with our Facebook, especially doing with the reports that are going on and on with regard to the Isaias storm. Is there a way we can maybe better facilitate the information on Facebook and our website? Maybe including photos of some of the areas so people can get a visual of the devastation in some spots. I mean, the information's good, but sometimes a visual component to that information is a little bit more impactful for people really to understand what's going on. The other thing, Mr. Seeger, maybe you can help out with our OEM. Our OEMs do a priority as far as the damage that is taking place or has taken place, such as the most recent storm. And then they provide information to the county OEM. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So when we assess the damage areas and we prioritize that, and then it goes over to the OEM, and then they prioritize the information not only from Rockaway Township, but all of the other neighboring towns within Morris County. And then that information, after it's prioritized, goes to JCP&L so they can go and do the restoration process. Is that accurate?
That's the way it's supposed to work, yes.
Right. Is there something that we can do better as a municipality? Because I think a lot of people believe that JCP&L picks and chooses where they are going to go, rather than realizing that each municipality, through its OEM, and reports that information to a county OEM, prioritizes the areas that need to be restored first, that are important, and then move down the chain of unimportant. I mean, everybody's important, don't get me wrong, but 20 houses versus 150 houses, or a hospital or a fire department or a municipality building would definitely be high on a priority list. Is there something we can do better to communicate with our residents, with the ground crews, other than just the reps from JCP&L, to get more accurate information, to prioritize areas and provide that information to the county, to give that information to JCP&L? It just seems like there's a lot of middle people rather than a direct continuity between the township and the power company. So is there something we can do better with that? Or you feel that there's a weakness with information and communication to the county OEM or JCP&L?
We have not had a meeting to go over what went right and what went wrong, which we will, because today was the last day we just got power and we still have some clean out areas. I have spoken to JCP&L. They are setting up an after storm meeting that we will go over everything. And I'm sure some suggestions will be good and improve. Everybody always can use improvement.
Is that something that I can participate in, since I have a lot of involvement with JCP&L and communications with them, especially not only this storm, but nor'eastern storms and storms earlier? Would I be able to be invited to that or welcomed by the mayor and you to participate in those conversations?
I think it's an administrative function and we will take your comments. No, you can send them to us, but I will check with the mayor and get back to you.
But if JCP&L has no issue with me being there, you wouldn't have an issue with me being there, would you?
I will leave it up to the mayor. Thank you.
Okay, that's all I have right now for new business.
Okay, thank you. I'll put it out there again. And anybody else have new business? Okay, go through council reports again, 5 minutes per report. I'm gonna just looking at my screen. Mr. Friedlander, I see you top left, so you can go first if you have a report. You're muted. You're muted. Go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. Basically, a quick, some committee reports. Really nothing doing with the Historical Society. They're just basically on hold. Libraries moving ahead with their virtual programs and their book drop-offs. It's working out what they're doing. Just want to, because I thought Jack was going to go first, but I'll just make a comment about the ordinance committee that I'm on. Just a quick reply. When I was on the council first time, which was quite a long time ago, they told me that the one committee that was always bipartisan was the ordinance committee. So you get people working from both sides of the aisle, per se, for the ordinances. Just want to say that it's working well. We're moving in the right direction, introducing ordinances. Yes, maybe some have to be tweaked, but to introduce new ordinances at the time, finally getting things moving forward is a plus, and it's working out. Just want to, that's it for the committees. I just want to thank administration. There's been issues. I figure it's new business, old business, but talk all at once. About the speeding and the speeding signs added and the patrolling in White Meadow Lake, because it's been a little crazy. And if you drive through White Meadow Lake, you'll see a lot of cones with the signs and the blinking speeding signs. Good job. And also want to commend administration and engineering finally to getting a street paved, Pasha Court. It's been waiting 20 some odd years. And it was finalized today. So good job, Pat, and give Allison, engineering my commendation for finally getting, something done for people that were waiting a long time. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Solberg.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I just want to say thank you actually to our residents with how everybody reacted last week. During the storm, I didn't see flare-ups. I didn't see panic. What I did see was a lot of neighbors pulling out their chainsaws, leaf blowers, checking on their neighbors, checking on the elderly, not to grandstand, not to self-promote, but because it was the right thing to do. I was just really proud of everywhere I went to go visit, people helping each other. We got through, the second worst, power outage since Sandy. So, again, I still believe in this town. I love this town. And last week just really proved it to me.
Thank you. Councilman Brooks.
Thank you. As we asked at the beginning of the meeting, I would just like everyone to think about the people that had the fire in Circle Drive. If I can find out more information, you guys might find it before me. Just hope that the whole family is okay, and we might need to look into helping them out in whatever way possible. The second thing is I know the schools, both local and the high school, released their schedules in terms for the children, what days they'll be going to school. So I think everyone just needs to be patient with that, and we'll see how that all works out. It's going to be a very interesting situation, but I think it's going to be a last-minute decision, in my opinion. But let's just help out in whatever way we can to help our kids get the best possible education as possible. And that is it at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Councilman Quinn.
All righty, thank you. First, I'd like to, I've had conversations with the football program and cheerleading. They are going to be starting on the 17th of this month for conditioning only. They have got great program installed for these kids for protection with social distancing, masks, the whole nine. They will move forward if everything goes forward. There's a meeting tonight or tomorrow night with the league to make sure that they're going to have a season. They're not giving out uniforms, no footballs. It's just conditioning. So they will move forward with that. I also wanted to say that during the storm, everybody pitched in. It was good to see Rockaway come together again, and we're getting there. And with the ordinance committee, we have a great committee. We work well with the attorneys, and we're getting things done. And we're looking forward to moving more ordinances out. At the next meeting, I hope to have 2 more. So we are moving. Other than that, Joe, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Noon.
Yes, I just wanted to piggyback on what Councilmember Quinn and Freelander said about the ordinance committee. I am enjoying being on the ordinance committee, and I'm looking forward to more ordinances, being worked on and coming out. As far as the storm is concerned, I I think it went pretty well. I know people did lose internet for a couple of days. And looking forward to seeing what happens with school. And that's it. Thank you.
You. Councilman Kelly?
I got a couple things, Council President. First, I just wanted to make a mention that in Lake Telemark on Green Pond Road, the county is doing a phenomenal job using Fitzpatrick as their subcontractor that has been milling, fixing all the catch basins and paving. Our DPW is doing their best. Our police are doing their best with directing traffic, as well as the sheriff's department. So collectively, everybody, they're kind of on schedule. Of course, the storm did impede it a little bit, but they did continue shortly afterwards. They were milling again today to try to get things wrapped up because we're going to get inclement weather coming up tomorrow, maybe going all the way into Friday or Saturday. Also going into the storm, I'm still a little disappointed that we didn't provide more information to our residents to give them a better idea of what's going on. I know there was some complaints from people shortly after the storm. I believe our administration picked it up a little bit to inform the public more so. I was kind of hoping that each one of the council members would have jumped on board and maybe posted some photographs and been more communicative about some of the things that are going on. Just to touch on this noon, there's still communication that's out in some areas, and you know, it's very difficult. I think JCP&L really gets hammered on a lot of issues here when it comes to these storms, and many people don't realize the protocol that takes place. I don't know how many of you, the council members, knew what it took to make a ticket to prioritize through our OEM, the county OEM, to get the information to JCP&L. And sometimes there's a miscommunication between OEMs to JCP&L, and there always seem to be the fall guy. It's never the communication companies, Verizon or Cablevision or Optimum. It's always JCP&L. And some of those trees that came down might have been a 60-foot tree, 30 feet away from the power lines, in a county easement, private property. And when those trees come down and tear out lines, it still becomes JCP&L's problem. You know, from having Gloria to Hugo in '99, having multiple storms that had taken place, Irene that had happened, of course, Sandy, some of those nor'easters that we have, you know, you would think that we would kind of get a better understanding to get some generators for that backup power. But I did see a lot of members of the community come out, help others out, clean debris. But I still think that there needs to be more communication, more conversations to prioritize areas and prioritize information to people. And the other thing people don't realize is that, you know, the line crews, regardless where they come from, you know, we have Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, of course, in New Jersey. These individuals can only work 16 hours and then they're pulled from that job. And then depending on some of the weather, but it did rain during some of the restoration process, it further delays them and they do it as a safety measure. So there are some things that are there that we have to understand, and you know, we'll get through it. It wasn't as much as Sandy, but you know, just in Dover alone, having close to 1,600 tickets, those are almost Sandy numbers in just that area of Dover, which is our neighbor. So I just want the council to recognize that, and if you could pass that information along to others, that would be great. You know, and Mrs. Siegert, maybe you might be able to help me with this. Like even our DPW guys and our workers, they can't work over 16 hours, right? Mrs. Siegert?
Excuse me?
I said that's 16 hours. That regulates not just like JCP&L personnel, but even our own personnel when clearing up. They can't work over 16 hours in one shot. Is that correct?
There's certain rules, and I don't have them with me, about working and taking rest periods, but they can go more than 16 hours as long as they have rest, I think. But
so there has to be a separation of time. Okay. No, but I'm just, you know, some people say, But the reason why I'm saying that is, there are people that say, well, those guys aren't working. And I know that they are working, but they also have a 16-hour period where I think they have to tap out. Whatever, there's a rest period in between, but still, they're doing their best. They're away from their families. Some of them don't have power themselves, and restoring power for others or cleaning up areas. And we just need to be conscientious about that, when these things happen. Come up with some additional solutions. So that's one thing that it concerns me that we don't realize that. But I want to remind everybody that, we still have COVID going on. I hope some of you had gone to the mall to continue to see some of the vacancies that keep coming up. I do urge and ask members of the council to think about a COVID-19 impact committee so we can somewhat establish some of these businesses that are out and maybe prepare for our tax appeals coming in 2021. We need to look at those things. We still have our restaurants that are fighting the Murphy's orders. They are outside dining. There's the Hibernia Diner. There's the Barn. We have the food trucks that are out there. We have Sam's Deli. We have Luzzy's. We have the Green Pond Grill. We have Tony's Pizza. We have a lot of these places, and just keep going if you can to help support them through this horrible time. Not only health-wise, mental health-wise, but also fiscal stability in their operations that they have. And with that, I hope everybody has a great remaining summer. And God bless everybody. Oh, I got one thing. I'm sorry, Council President. The last thing I wanted to mention, I made a note on there. Getting back to the letter, I wanted to read this in the record and finish my time.
No, your time's up.
No,
you already had 7 minutes. So Vice President Sackett. Mr. Kelly, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself and stop talking.
However, we disagree.
You're a child. Stop acting like a child.
And that you allege crimes
Stop acting like a child, Mr. Kelly. That doesn't get the way, Mr. Kelly. You can stop. You're unbelievable. You're out of order, Mr. Kelly. Please stop talking. Mr. Sackett, go ahead with your report.
Please.
Yeah, go ahead with your report. He's not recognized. Just go ahead and do your report. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
There have been claims of crimes.
Mr. Kelly, you're unreal. You're unreal. You're unbelievable. Go ahead, Mr. Sackett.
This is 8/4/11:06 a.m. from you.
Yep. Good. Thanks, Mr. Kelly. You're great. Thank you. Child. That's it.
Child. It's just you need to read it.
Child.
So I think that's at 5 o'clock. That's one of the things we voted on, put on the meeting or two ago. So the Boy Scouts are having a free event down in the Party City parking lot Friday, August 14th. And also, I just want to ditto with Councilman Sahlberg. I thought a lot of the residents were out there helping. I was out there. A lot of people were helping, coming together. I don't take a lot of pictures of trees and everything out there, but I was out and about posting as much as I can, talking to a lot of residents. So I was out there quite a bit. Thank you.
Thanks for your effort, Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm not going to put a report tonight. We have more things to get to. I think everybody covered everything about the storm. Anything else would just be duplicative. The mayor already gave his report. I'm going to ask Ms. Seeger, since the mayor is gone at another event, I'm going to ask Ms. Seeger if she has any updates on the items Mr. Kelly wanted added, the economic impact of residents of COVID, the Bobbyville sewer assessment update, the hockey ice skating rink operational cost update, or the storm impact to Rockaway Township. Did you have anything else to add? What the mayor had said earlier, Ms. Seeger?
I just wanted to say that the OEM watch here, the DPW, the police, the mayor, and everybody did great. The residents were very good when they called up to let us know. Nobody was angry, and they thanked us, and they did a great job. The fire department had a lot of calls. We had a couple of house fires. They were right on the scene. Everybody chipped in to do everything that we could. And I thank the residents for their patience and understanding. And I wanted to let everybody know that the fire department and Pete Tabbitt, our health director, secured a couple of grants that will be that you could see by adding the chapter 159 for the COVID money that we're taking advantage of that. And the police departments keep track of their money, and Ms. Palmieri is keeping track of that to make sure that our town gets its fair share of what's out there. And they've been doing a good job. Engineers been very busy with a lot of projects going out to bid. And of course, the mayor already spoke about Peterson Field and about Bowlbyville. I would like Mr. Achafano to give you the information on that.
Mr. Yachafani, you can just go into your whole report if you want to, if you have anything else besides that.
I'm going to obviously leave the subject to the closed session alone. With respect to Bowlbyville, we have gotten the required maps that the commission requested put together through a lot of work on the part of Mark Burek. The evidence binders have been completed and given to the members of the commission. We are now, Chrissy's been actively involved, very helpfully involved in selecting dates for our next meeting. It appears that the meetings are going to be virtual starting in approximately a month to 6 weeks. With respect to, that's really all I got.
Okay. With that said, we're going to go into closed session, R20-135, resolution authorizing an executive closed session in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, for consideration, discussion of potential amendment to the contract with the Rockaway Center Associates. We will be in closed session for approximately 20 minutes. During that time, the council is going to mute this WebEx meeting and hide their video or not show their video, and we're going to dial into another phone number. So if it's going to go longer than 20 minutes, I will come back into this meeting and let the members of the public know how much longer we will be. But can I have a motion to go into close? Yeah.
Really quick, if we could just state for the record when we anticipate the minutes of the closed session to be available to the public. It is on the second page of that resolution.
He'll figure it out something.
Okay. Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
Second.
You can take the roll whenever you're ready, Chrissy.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Freelander?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 8 yeses. We're going into closed session at 8:44 and expect to be out no later than 9:04.
And Joe, just for the record, because we should state it, we do anticipate that the minutes for this closed session will be available in approximately 30 days or to the
Thank
next
you.
special council meeting.
Thank you. Okay, everybody dial in.
Give me a minute or two, everybody. I am going to be starting the conference call.
Thank you.
per year, reducing the amount due.
Not seeing Manny.
All right. Chrissy, can you hear me?
The only person we're missing is Manny, Chris.
I hear you, Jack.
I'm missing Manny. We're missing Manny.
Ms. Seeger, have you received a phone call from him? Was he disconnected? Does anyone know?
I'm trying to call him now.
Do we still have quorum moving forward?
We do.
I mean, you got the votes, so I mean, after this adjournment.
Anybody got in touch with him? Pat, have you gotten in touch with him?
Yes, can I put him on speakerphone?
Works for me.
Right, Manning, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone.
Okay, could I get a motion to come back into closed session and return to open meeting at 9:05?
So moved.
Second it.
Hang on. They're making a motion.
Chrissy,
Can
take the
Manny
roll
hear
call.
us? Mrs. Clipperton, can Manny hear us?
What was that?
Can Manny hear us? I mean, Mrs. Seeger's interpreting what's going on. Manny should be able to hear.
I don't know what Mr. Friedlander can.
Just go ahead and take the roll call, and if he's not
Manny,
on, then
can
he
you
doesn't
hear
vote.
Councilmember.
Manny, go ahead, Chrissy.
Councilmember Kelly.
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander. Councilmember Salberg.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Noon.
Yes.
Vice President Sackett.
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes. We're back in open session at 8 yeses. We're looking to vote on making the amendment to the contract with the Rockaway Center Associates that was discussed in executive session. Can I get a motion?
What's the contract for?
For mall security services.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
We just lost Joe for a minute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, can't see you.
Oh, I can see me.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chrissy.
Councilmember Kelly.
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander.
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Noon.
Yes.
Vice President Sackett.
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 8 yeses. The amendment is approved.
Council President, I want to make a motion.
Go ahead, make a motion.
I want to make a motion to excuse the absence of Councilman Kritz.
Anybody want to second it? Okay, would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Anyone second? Mr. Quinn made the motion. Anybody want a second to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, I do. Jonathan.
Councilmember Kelly.
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander. Councilmember Salberg.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Noon.
Yes.
Vice President Sackett.
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 8 yeses. The meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a good night and stay safe.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Chrissy.
I got back on.
You all. Be safe.
Everybody, you too. We're done.